I am getting more youthful and I have certain rituals that I'm taking on. So I'm gonna share my top 6 that I'm doing for 2024 because I wanna look and feel my best. As I've gotten a little bit older, I don't like the word old. Let's just say that. I don't like the word old. I feel like I am getting more youthful and I have certain rituals that I'm taking on that I'm upgrading because I've been a health and fitness nutrition coach, but I realized that I can tweak it just a little bit to get even more results. So I'm gonna share my top 6 that I'm doing for 2024 because I wanna look and feel my best. So the first one, and this one I feel it's talked about quite a bit, but I'm gonna share with you, there's an RDA for the amount of protein that is expected based off your body weight. I'm gonna challenge you to, especially if you're over 40, to increase that. So double it, double the RDA for your protein intake. And so that is something that I'm actually focusing on. Whereas before I didn't necessarily focus on protein this much. So I am trying to get protein in every meal I consume. So if that's a breakfast, a snack, a lunch, another snack, dinner, I'm getting a protein and trying to get a really clean protein. So if I'm gonna do a meat source, making sure that it's free range, grass fed, like it's as natural as possible and most humanely possible. We have to remember, everything we're consuming is energy. The last thing I want to consume in my body is something that's been beat or treated not well. I don't want that in my energy field. So I really make sure that if I'm going to eat meat, that it's in that form and that they're eating actual food that they naturally would eat, not grains and random stuff. The other thing that I do, if it's a non-meat source of protein, I do things like Greek yogurt or really a low-fat cottage cheese. Some people don't do as well with dairy. My body does fine with that. I'll also do chia seeds, which is a great, or hemp seeds, which is a great clean protein. So I'm just finding ways to get creative. Eggs are probably the most least expensive, except eggs are getting more expensive for some reason, but the least expensive form and easiest form of protein you can get in. So I challenge you to double your RDA for protein and watch how that affects your fitness and nutrition goals. If I do a protein powder, I make sure it's very clean, has as minimal ingredients as possible. So that's one thing I'm trying to do. The other thing is I noticed this. So I'm a big water consumer. If you think about it, we're made up of 70% of water. And I don't think we put a lot of thought in the water that we are ingesting. And water holds codes. We're actually finding out, and I'm gonna do a whole segment around this, but water holds signature codes. And water can actually, depending on the code of that water or the structure of that water or the healthiness of that water, affects your body more than we are even realizing. This is gonna be new data that I think everyone's gonna start hearing more and more about, is the power of our water source. And we also know that the words that we speak to water, the intention we place over water, actually changes the molecular structure of water. So why would we not be, one, blessing our water, making sure that we are saying beautiful things to water? Whether you get a water bottle or you're getting it from some random tap, make sure you're blessing that water. It changes the molecular structure, and that is going inside of you. The other thing that I am noticing with water is a lot of it's depleted. And the water I was drinking was very beautiful water, but it lacked really good minerals in it. And I noticed that I started adding, and I'm gonna put the brand below, and I'm not sponsored by them, but Beam Minerals. So they have really clean minerals and really clean electrolytes. And I've been just adding a little capful to my water every single day. And my family's been doing it too. And oh my goodness, my energy, I do know my energy's gone up just by adding those two things. And so that's been a new health hack that I have discovered and very much in love with. And then the third thing, nature time. Making sure I'm walking. Now, maybe you've heard of this, maybe you haven't, but most of us are not walking as many steps as we should. We're sitting down a lot, we're driving from A to B, we sit at desks, and something as simple as walking can benefit all of us. And it can be very profound because walking, typically, hopefully you get out of your home and off a treadmill, but you go walk out in nature. you are going to reap so many benefits from walking in nature, getting the fresh air, hearing the birds, feeling the wind, smelling the trees. All of that is beneficial. They do research on animals, in particular dogs, and they found that dogs live longer if you let them outside to sniff freely. I believe humans are no different. If we get outside and sniff and breathe in that air, it's actually going to be tremendous on our longevity. So walking, so good idea if you're tracking your steps, and you don't actually need a tracking monitor. I don't wear one. I'll just figure out how many miles I've walked, and they've done the tabulations for you about what that might be is when it comes to steps. I try to go for about 12 to 15,000 steps a day. Best to try to get at least 10, but if you can go to 12 to 15, you're gonna notice a big, big difference, not only with your weight goals and your health goals, but your mental goals. So mentally, it just feels so good. So try this. You can listen to a podcast. You can watch my videos on YouTube. You can really talk to a friend, or just listen to music, or just be in nature and meditate and be aware of your steps and aware of your surroundings, and just see this tremendously impact your life. This fourth one is really unique, and I'm not gonna say it's for everyone, but I gotta be honest that I've been doing it. So I had a surgery at the end of 2023. I had a hysterectomy surgery, and I've noticed a lot of inflammation in my body. When you have major surgery, that's just a natural outcome. And some of us just have a lot of inflammation in our bodies because we're holding on to a lot of toxins, whether it's toxins from the environment around us, or we build up toxins when we carry a lot of stress. And I think a lot of us are feeling a lot of stress, whether we're recognizing it or not. So most of us have a lot of inflammation. One thing that I have just discovered, now you might find it in your area, and I just want to briefly share about it, is Endosphere and iKoon. Those devices, they come from I think they come from Italy. But those devices really help break up inflammation in the body, like almost like a lymphatic drainage type technique, which I have noticed has made a really big difference on tightening my skin and lymphatic drainage throughout my whole body. So I really think that you can do massages or things like that can be really, really beneficial. The other thing that I'm doing is lifting heavier. I love a body weight exercise program. I know it's actually beneficial. I've seen study after study, but as I've gotten a little bit older, I've noticed that by lifting a little bit heavier, which I don't actually really love to do, so if you're in that same camp, I'm with you. I just know that there's more benefit. When you add resistance weight, when you're 40 years plus to your workouts, it actually helps you build muscle quicker and lean down and helps strengthen your bone and your structural system. So the more lean muscle mass we have, the more energy we have, the more structural we have, support we have within our bones, and we're gonna release more body fat. So the more muscle we gain, the less body fat, because that takes your body more energy to have more muscle, so you're gonna burn more body fat. So try that out, try to get some dumbbells. You can get some 10 pounds, 12 pounds, 15-pound ones, and just start incorporating them in your everyday exercise. You can even get a weighted vest as you go walk, and that's gonna be tremendous on your benefit. Okay, the last thing that I am doing, and I've mentioned and have a whole video on, is about my morning routine. This has been something that now is a non-negotiable completely. I wanna get grounded, I wanna get in alignment before I go out into the world, before I engage with anyone. I wanna engage with myself, with a higher power, and that is something that I've been doing and it's been game-changing. I hope all this has been super helpful for you. What health practice are you taking on that you've noticed a big difference with? Leave it in the comments below. We want to hear from you, what's working for you. And let's just try to take on one or two and see how it impacts our lives.